everybody. I'm DF, and I am back with more Beauties and Beasts, a podcast for all things Beauty and the Beast. Now that the holiday rush at work is over, and I've spent some time with the family, we're going to go back to talking about what makes people beautiful and what makes people beastly. So, a while back, when I was sharing my new series with all my friends and family on Facebook, I think this was in episode 3, that my uncle commented on the link asking, is there any classic folklore where the beast is the bride and a beautiful man is the groom? These themes seem very chauvinistic. Those were his words, not mine. Okay, 1, sorry uncle, I don't write these stories, I just analyze them. 2, props to you for noticing this trend. And 3, it's a legitimately fair question. Most of the stories and movies I've been talking about have a male beast and a female beauty, whether platonically or romantically. But we rarely see the other way around. It is a legitimate question. Why is that? Why do we often have a male beast and a female beauty? And I think it's an appropriate time to talk about this, considering this month we have the 3rd annual Women's March on Washington, along with other women's marches around the country, and I will be participating in this. Yes, I'm a feminist. You really surprised with the series I've been running? Hard not to be a feminist with this story. It's very feminist. Come on. I mean, not just from the female perspective. Okay, we'll get into that later. I think, from a historical perspective, why the beast is usually a male. Well, Beauty and the Beast, it's, in many forms that it's taken, it's a story about an arranged marriage, with Eros and Psyche and Madame de Beaumont's story and the Bride of the Lindworm King. Because in the past, with arranged marriages, women have had very little choice in the matter. And, it can seem very scary to be married to a stranger. In any situation, I mean, what if the guy ends up being not a very nice guy? So he will seem kind of beastly at first, no matter what he looks like, to be honest. So that is probably why we usually have the female in the beauty situation and the male in the beast situation. How he seems beastly at first, but then over time he becomes beautiful. Kind of literally. And the beast, he also represents a difference in social classes. Because in Madame de Beaumont's tale, Belle was a daughter of a merchant and Beast was a nobleman, so ideally that relationship would be looked down upon, and so one of them was not really appealing, so kind of just added more to the metaphor. And also a moral intention that the story is meant to show that beauty is on the inside. But the question that's begged, from my uncle in particular, can men learn to love not-so-pretty women the same way women can love not-so-pretty men? You see a lot of more modern examples of the female beast in movies like Penelope and The Lion Woman. You should watch both of them, by the way. They are awesome. But are there some classic examples of female beast brides? Ugh, that's a mouthful. And I have been searching and, found a couple examples, but very rare ones. I mean, for one, there's a swan princess. I will save that for a future episode. A short while ago, I found a Hungarian TV mini animated series on YouTube. Apparently, this was from the 80s, called Hungarian Folktales, which was originally done in Hungarian, but then was later dubbed in English. And it has lots of examples of Beauty and the Beast from, A Princess and a Pig and this fox guy. But one of them really stood out. And this was called, by this series, the Pussycat Princess. And I think one of these helps to answer the question of, what if the beast was female? Would it be any different? Okay, before I get into this, I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons, Duskwing Dragon, Satu-Hana, and TyrannosaurusVenom, a couple of them who are listening to this episode live right now. Thank you for your continuing support, and a special thank you to those of you who bought Beauties and Beasts merchandise and other things from my account on redbubble.com last month. Thanks to you, we were able to raise $11 for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and your donations will help to make a sick child's wish come true. Merchandise is still available for sale on Redbubble. They will help to fund the podcast and help me to buy new audio equipment so I don't have to keep recording under a blanket. And hopefully we'll be getting more special guests. Some of the perks you'll receive as patrons will vary on the tier. You'll be able to listen to new episodes early, listen to episode previews, listen to some new episodes live while I'm recording, You'll have access to exclusive bonus content such as Beastly Reads, which is my monthly book review, consulting sessions with me on Skype, and if you pledge the Fairy Godperson tier of $50 or over, you'll be able to hire me as a guest in one of your videos. For instance, I'm doing a little side project with Satu-Hana right now. And just remember that true beauty comes from the kindness you show unto others, and your kindness will not go unrewarded. Okay, before I get into the summary, I just want to point out that I tried looking for the original source of this tale, but it was very hard to find. With, folk tales being told through oral tradition, it's hard to tell exactly when this came up or what the original text was. So I will go with the summary as what I saw in this cartoon. And I also not be going into my usual 5-act analysis, as this is a pretty short tale and it goes by pretty quickly. Alright, so once upon a time, there was this king with 3 sons who were all young and handsome and unattached. So the king says, okay, you guys gotta get hitched, at the same time, right now. So in order to find his son's brides, he throws 3 sticks into the air, 1 to represent each son, and he says, wherever the stick falls and points to, there you will find your bride. Wow, talk about leaving things to random chance. I mean, what if the nearest girl nearby is already married? Does that count? Now, the eldest son's stick pointed towards a baroness, the middle son's stick pointed towards a countess, and the youngest son's stick pointed towards the dark forest. Yeah, okay, kind of sketchy. Where are you going to find a girl in a dark forest? So he goes into the woods, but the only thing he finds there is this female pussycat. Yeah, boy, didn't see that coming, did you, buddy? And a cat who can apparently talk, by the way. So after the cat pretty much begs him to accept her as his bride, he comes back all sad and kind of embarrassed. And when his father asks what kind of bride he found, he's like, it's a surprise. After all, what can you say to your father? I'm engaged to a cat? And the king tells his sons to have their beloveds bring back a beautiful bouquet of flowers that they arranged themselves. The youngest prince returns to the forest, and the cat says, "Hey, future hubby, why do you look so sad? I don't like it when you're sad." And the prince replies, "My father asked me to bring a bouquet of flowers from my betrothed, but how can a cat get me flowers? I mean, how can you even pick flowers with those little paws of yours?" And the cat says, "Oh, just take a nap. I'll take care of everything." And so while the prince sleeps, the cat scratches on a nearby tree, and 3 other cats come out, all carrying flowers. One of them carrying a bouquet of silver flowers, the other gold flowers, and the third diamond flowers. I really don't understand how you can get silver, gold, or diamond flowers. Okay, maybe silver and gold, but diamonds are like rocks. How do you... Anyway, the cat takes all these flowers and arranges them into a beautiful bouquet. And you can imagine that when the youngest prince brings a bouquet back to the king, he thinks that one is the best. Naturally, because diamond flowers. So a week goes by, and the king asks his sons to have their brides make a handkerchief and bring it back to the palace. So the youngest prince goes to the woods. The cat asks why he's so sad, and he says, "I'm supposed to bring back a handkerchief from my fiancé, but cats can't weave," which is fair enough. I mean, cats have no opposable thumbs. "Oh, don't worry, just go to sleep. I'll take care of it." "How are you going to take care of this?" "I'm just going to take care of it. Go to sleep." And so she scratches a tree, and the 3 cats appear again, one carrying silver yarn, the other gold yarn, and the third diamond yarn. Yeah, silver, gold, and diamond was a pretty common theme in Hungarian folktales, as I discovered from this series. And the cat somehow manages to weave all of these into a beautiful handkerchief. Again, how do you even get diamond yarn? That doesn't make sense. It's a rock. Gold, sure, you can coat it in liquid gold, but diamonds, how? Yeah, I'm surprised by this, not shocked by the fact that we have a talking cat who can weave. And so he brings a handkerchief back to the palace, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome. What kind of wife do you have?" Still a surprise. A month goes by. The king asks his sons to bring the brides to the palace so that he may finally meet them. Gotta meet the parents. And the prince goes to the forest. The cat's like, "What's wrong? You look even sadder now." "Well, I'm supposed to bring you back to the palace, but how can I bring a cat home? They'll think I'm delusional." Again, fair enough. I mean, cats are cute, but you wouldn't think to marry one, right? "I just go to sleep and everything will be fine in the morning." And so when the prince wakes up, he finds a princess there in place of the cat, and she says that, "I was a pussycat, and I was placed under the curse until a young man asked me to marry him." "Okay, I'll definitely marry you now." So he brings his bride to the palace, and they have this huge wedding feast with a happy triple wedding. Yay! So the moral of the story is, it doesn't matter what your bride looks like, as long as she can weave cloth out of silver, gold, and diamonds. Oh wait, what? Okay, in all seriousness, let's look at this fairy tale through traditional applications. When a man and woman get married, historically speaking, he becomes the master of the house and she becomes the mistress. Now, you could say that the man had all the financial power, but the woman did have some power too in the marriage. I mean, both the husband and wife would provide for each other, the man financially and the woman with housework and care. Well, in the case of this story, she's, a princess, so a rich wife would not so much be in charge of the housework, but she would have control over the servants. She'd be the one to tell them what to do. And like here, this pussycat, she has all the traits of a traditionally good wife. She sees her fiancé sad and she becomes a source of comfort. And she does things to make sure he's no longer sad. She commands the servants to help. The diamonds and gold and stuff were to show that she is the most talented and caring of all the prince's brides. And that is her real beauty. So there's a message for the guys. That when looking for a potential mate, you should be looking for talent and kindness rather than paying so much attention to looks. And also there's the outlook of societal differences. The cat is kind of a different social class in the sense that she's an animal who lives in the woods. But then at the end of the story, she becomes a princess and she and the prince are equals. From a feminist perspective, it may seem like the cat is doing all the work in this relationship, but actually, that's kind of what the male beast does, too, in their own way. I mean, in Madame Leprince de Beaumont's story and in Eros and Psyche, the male beasts were the ones who were providing their brides with all the wealth and jewels and the food and the comfort. And the beauty would have to in some way prove that she was loyal. In retrospect, this prince actually didn't do much to prove that he was loyal. Though, maybe he did. Just maybe not as outlandish as keeping a promise or something. Well, he did kind of keep his promise, to the cat, and he did actually show that he trusted her in some way. Whenever the cat asked him to just lie down and take a rest and make sure that everything was taken care of, he was showing some trust. I mean, it takes a lot of trust to just lie down next to somebody and just assume that they're not going to do anything weird to you. Just saying. It is still a bit of a traditional story, but what can you do? Now, let's talk a little bit about how female beasts appear to be different than male beasts. At least from what I've seen, female beasts are actually not that monstrous. I mean, we've got a cat, we've got a swan. In the movie Penelope, she has a pig's nose. And meanwhile, the male beasts we've gotten are like wolves, snakes, dragons, lions, bears. They seem a bit more predatorial and naturally frightening. Ugh. I mean, pretty much just dating carnivores, which is actually pretty not fair. I mean, in the representation of men being the scarier sex. Although that might have to do with the fact that they've kind of ruled over women for a very long time. To be fair, I think women and men are pretty much equally afraid of each other. In a way. It might also have to do with traditional views of females being gentler and prettier. Though, let's face it, women are objectively more attractive than men. I'm saying that as someone who's attracted to both. Or do men just appear scarier? It is kind of weird. Though we can't deny it, there are differences between men and women, not just biologically. I mean, women tend to be more emotional, men tend to take more risks, which is probably why women live longer. I'm just saying statistic-wise, and whether this has to do with biology or societal pressure is still a question we're asking ourselves today, and we can't really prove it or disprove it. And the female beasts, the ones I've seen anyway, are not necessarily ugly. I mean, cat's not really ugly, a swan's not really ugly, just, something you really wouldn't consider as a wife. Unless some of you have actually considered marrying a cat. Okay, then that's a little weird. Some things only work in fairy tales. I don't know the exact roots of this particular folktale, but it did remind me of a similar story that I saw in the HBO series Happily Ever After, and this series took a more modern, diverse approach, and also sometimes feminist approach to fairy tales, especially with casting people of color in the main roles. This was the episode The Frog Princess, which was essentially the same as the Pussycat Princess, only the bride was a frog, and she actually made the prince do the tasks that were asked of the king. Well, she said the reason was, well, I'm just a frog, I got these slippery fingers. So it was giving the prince a chance to show his loyalty and that he could be just as devoted and hardworking in the relationship as his bride. So, yeah, I would say to my uncle that the world has been ruled by men for a while, so naturally there would be traditionalist views, sometimes chauvinistic in old folktales, and you still kind of see them today, on men and women, but we are in an ever-changing world. Like, I would recommend watching Penelope and the Lion Woman, which I will talk about in future episodes. And I will say this is just what I would say is the reason behind this sort of gendered perspective. But we can change that. We can write new stories of female beasts and male beauties, or of the same sex beauties and beasts, which would be even better. Does anybody who is listening right now have any questions on this topic, like, the folktale itself, or gender perspectives on Beauty and Beast? Oh, Satu-Hana did bring up, thank you, I almost forgot about that. In Shrek, where we have dragon and donkey, you could say that, dragon was kind of a little more beastly than donkey, if you could call donkey a beauty. And I would say that relationship somehow worked out. That definitely didn't have to do with looks. And not even from Dragon's perspective. I mean, she fell for Donkey because, he was the first one to compliment her. And, she was the first one to really respect him and actually listen to him. We do have an ever-changing world. Like, it's not really about looks anymore. It's about what is on the inside. Okay, for some people it might still be about looks, sadly. Okay, it seems that there are no questions about this particular topic right now. Let me talk about what I might be doing next time. Okay, I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to do some scheduling with others and see which would be the best times, if it's possible for the next episode. But what I hope to be doing with the next couple episodes, if not the next one, then maybe the one after that, is interview indie film director and my neighbor, Ann Wells, on a movie she recently released called An Accidental Zombie Named Ted. Now, actually, you'll like that one, Uncle, because it's actually a male and female beast and beast relationship, though different kinds of beasts, so you could still say it's Beauty and the Beast, but you'll like that. And I will talk to her. If I can't meet with her in time for the next episode, then maybe the next episode will be guest starring newlyweds DeWilstonator and Katie Patterson. Once we have confirmed the topic, that is. For now, be sure to follow this podcast by either following me on Podbean or YouTube. Become a patron by pledging a certain amount of money a month, at least $1, that would be nice. You can follow the link in the description below, or if you're on Podbean, click the light green button on the right-hand corner of the screen. Also, buy my merchandise on Redbubble for Beauties and Beasts, and much more. And for now, remember, true beauty comes from the kindness you show unto others, especially if that kindness comes from silver, gold, and diamond bouquets and handkerchiefs. And whether you're a girl or a guy, or you are non-binary or whatever, just remember that the best partners are the ones who are loyal to you and kind to you, and the ones who are super talented. Okay, maybe not super, super talented, but have good qualities like that. And it doesn't matter what they look like. True love is blind. Okay, see you all next time. And if you're going to any of the women's marches across the United States, keep on marching. I hope to see you there.